Hello, everybody. Welcome to Biology Dual Credit. You guys are the brave souls. No, I was kidding. No, it should be super easy for you guys. And like I've said in all my other things, and I've written to you guys multiple times, I am here to help you in any way, shape, or form that I can. Okay? And just to prove it to you, I'm going to do a walkthrough video of project number 1. I'm not going to do the experiment because I want you guys to kind of get that experience, but I am going to show you the material you need and how to do it. Okay, and then what I'll do is do the lab later at a later date and send you the video that you can kind of compare the results. And you don't have to. A lot of you guys will already have it done by then. Okay, but anyways, you guys get to see my mug face for the first time. Okay, and it took me a while. I was trying to get this stupid camera on my laptop to work, and finally got it. I had to download a new driver and stuff. And anyways, I don't get paid enough for computers. But anyways, here we are. So first things first, for this lab, if you can see right here, is project 1 is the yogurt lab. Now you guys, this first unit, so this will be found at the end of this unit. I'm going to send this out actually here the first day of school. That way you guys can get a little head start on this project if you'd like. It only takes like a day, but the next time your parents run to the store, you will need to get one thing. It's not expensive, but you'll need it. Okay. Well, 2 things technically, but one thing you probably always have in your fridge. So anyways, here we go. The first unit, you guys, goes over just basic stuff, how they usually start a lot of science classes, basically the idea of why do we do science, what do scientists do, the scientific method, how we do measurements and stuff like that. Okay, so things you guys have seen ample amounts of time. But this project I really do like because it gets us kind of thinking like a scientist. And that's one thing that I really hope that you guys are able to do in my class. I don't, and I say this all the time, I teach online part-time, but I do full-time teaching at Rigby High School, and I teach science too. And I tell them all the time, I tell my students, I'm not here to impart all knowledge on you, right? I'm here to help you think like a scientist, and I think that's the most important thing. If you can get out of this class, and in any science class really, but especially this one, if you don't remember all the little minute details that are taught, that's okay. What I do want you to do is develop skills of being a scientist. Okay, so I put a lot of weight on these projects of your overall grade, and I also put a lot of emphasis to make sure that you guys do these, and I want you to do well on them. Okay, and so anyways, and that's why you take science, right, is to do experimentations, do labs and things. So anyways, here we go. So for this project, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making yogurt, and we're trying to test different variables. So what this is ultimately doing is having us think about, well, what is a hypothesis? How do we make a testable hypothesis, and how do we test it properly? And to do that, we have to think about, well, how are we going to set up the experiment to make this work? And we have dependent variables, independent variables. We want it to make it a controlled experiment so we don't have too much going on. Okay, and so to do this, you guys, it's going to walk you through a couple things. Now, it's going to tell you what to do here. You will need to download a PDF, and it's really nice how it's made. So I'll show you guys how this. So, for example, gives you some background information. Variables, just a quick review of what you should already know here and what it's taught you previously in this unit. But we also have our hypothesis. You will need to make hypothesis. If you're struggling with this concept, click right here. It's got a great thing right here that'll help you walk through this. And it'll help you think, okay, well, here's a scientific question. How does the amount of sleep students receive before a test affect their test scores? So there's a question. Could you make a hypothesis to this that is testable? Yeah, absolutely. And so here's an example right here. If the amount of sleep students, and I want you to notice if. So they always start with an if, and then they'll have a then statement. So they say that hypotheses are an if-then statement. If, this is our criteria, the amount of sleep students receive before a test affects their brain function while taking the test, then increasing the amount of sleep students receive will increase test scores. So you can see right here that this hypothesis, it has a criteria. It tells me what they're going to do and how they're going to gather data to know if it's right or wrong. Okay, pretty good. And it tells you right here, this is our independent variable, our dependent variable. okay? And so what we want, and it gives you some practice problems right here, or practice that you could do. And so what you'll do, make sure you do that. Make a hypothesis, make sure it's testable, and I'm going to look for an if-then statement. So when we look at the project objectives, tells us what we're going to do here. We're going to construct a hypothesis that answers the following experimental questions. So here's your question. How does the temperature affect the production of yogurt? So I'm going to download this data sheet because this is what you'll turn into me. Okay? And I can just do this. I'm going to download it. Okay? I can save it anywhere that I want. Here, I'm going to call this Yogurt Lab. Maybe I'll put my name there. Crook. Okay, got it. I'm going to open that puppy up. And the great thing is it's going to let me type on it. So let's go back. So it tells us some material that we'll need. So you're going to need 2 glasses. Now, you guys, I'm using these right here. Okay. So I've just got some cheap plastic glasses. You can use any type of glass that you want. One thing, your mother probably won't be happy if you use like one of her nice glasses and you write on it with a permanent marker. So if you're going to do that, get like some masking tape or something to put on it. Okay, and so the next thing you'll need is some whole milk. Make sure it's whole milk. I mean, it doesn't matter really. You could use any milk you want there. Okay, and then the big important thing is buttermilk. And this is what I probably think that you'll need to have your mother buy. Now, you do not need a ton of it, okay? So just grab, if you don't drink buttermilk, you don't have buttermilk in the house too much. It is used for cooking and things. But anyways, buttermilk, small amounts. So just to put it in perspective, see this thing right here? So this is a teaspoon. If you look down here, it tells you only to put 5 teaspoons in each one. So you need a total of 10 of these. 5 that you'll put in this cup and 5 that you'll put in this other cup. Okay, just 5. So you don't need a ton there. And then that's pretty much what you'll need there. Okay. Now, pre-lab. So it says download the data sheet and complete the pre-lab activities found in it. Okay. So there you go. I've downloaded it right here. So I could answer these questions. So research what a laboratory technician does. So I'm going to let you guys do that. So you'll be able to research that, summarizing your findings in 2 to 3 paragraphs, and include your sources there. Okay? So tell me, what does a laboratory technician do? Explain to me what that is. All right? Next one, briefly summarize the steps you will take to conduct the experiment. So this is just procedures. What are you thinking about doing? After you've read, and so this is pre-lab, so I want you to read through that. What are you going to do step by step? You can always refer back to it. So here's the procedures right here. Tell me what you're going to do, just briefly. Now, you don't need to, I don't want you to say, well, here, Mr. Crook, I'll just copy and paste this for you. Don't do that. I want you to put it in your own words. It does not need to be this detailed. You just simply need to say, well, Mr. Crook, I'm going to take 2 cups, all right? I'm going to label each cup with with specifics about what I'm going to do in the experiment. So one I'm going to put in room temperature, the other one I'm going to put in the refrigerator. I'm testing to see how temperature impacts how yogurt gets produced, okay? And so then I could go into this next thing. Well, I'm going to put milk in each of these. I'm going to put a total of 8 teaspoons or 40 milliliters. Then I'll put 5 milliliters of buttermilk in there, mix it up, then place it in its locations that it needs to go. So the room temperature will stay outside or in my kitchen, and the refrigerator will go into the kitchen or into the refrigerator. Okay, and I'm gonna let it sit for 24 hours, and then I'm gonna gather data. That's all you need to put there. Okay, nothing crazy. Here's my important. Write a hypothesis, an if-then statement. So what do you expect to happen? So if yogurt is if milk and buttermilk is placed in 2 various temperatures in the refrigerator and in room temperature, then yogurt will be produced in the one in the fridge. Okay, or maybe you could go into texture. Then the milk will be thicker or smellier in the experiment that is left in room temperature, whatever it is. Okay, so I want you to write an if-then statement for that. After you do that, I want you guys to First, you'll need to take some data, so at least 3 possible independent variables there that you could test. Okay, so we're testing temperature right now, but you could think of other things too. Well, what if I add more milk? What if I add salt? What if I use different types of milk? So whole milk versus skim milk, things like that. So any type of independent variable. So this is just getting you thinking about other things that you could possibly do. Okay. What is the dependent variable? Again, this is what are we measuring? What are we looking for? Why is temperature the independent variable? Why is the production of yogurt the dependent variable? Okay. What is the function of buttermilk in this experiment? Then you'll come down here and you're just going to look for some various things. So here's where you're going to keep your data. So you have consistency before and then consistency after. So please make sure that you look at the consistency beforehand. Obviously, it's going to be a liquid there. Okay, so milk, where I could put an X there, an X there, and when I mix it together, it's still going to be probably a thin liquid. Okay. After 24 hours, what then do we observe? Okay. And then down here is where you guys will be able to really analyze the results. Okay. So this one right here, just write a brief description of what happened in the cup. Okay. And then answer these questions right there. Maybe what are some errors that could have happened? And then number 13. So these are pretty self-explanatory. One thing that I do want to point out, you guys see how it says explain your response on some of these? When it says ever the word explain, this means that I want more than just a sentence. Please refer to your data to support that. Okay. This one right here is an important one. Was your hypothesis supported or unsupported? This one could be written in a claim, evidence, and then reasoning format. Okay. And so whenever I see that explain, that's kind of what I look for. I see, do they have a claim? Do they have evidence that supports their claim? Then do they explain or reason out how their evidence supports that claim? Okay. And so this one will be a big one, number 11 there. Make sure that you either support or reject your hypothesis. That will be your claim. So for example, the hypothesis was correct. Or be more specific, the hypothesis that said ... was supported. The data table shows that the mixture after 24 hours changed from liquid to solid. Okay, so there I have my data. Then I could go into reasoning, how that supports my claim. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking for there for that one. And then after you guys are done, make sure you save that. And then what you'll do is, you'll go to the next part where it'll have you upload that page. Okay, and it won't let me do that right there, but it'll say upload, submit assignment, something to that effect. You'll turn it in. This is worth 100 points, and I grade it by completion of these questions and how well you answer them. Okay? Alrighty. I think I've gone over everything that I wanted to go over with you guys. So I will let you guys go. But hopefully this video was helpful, gave you some good tips of kind of how I do these, how I grade these projects, and just give you little tips and tricks of what you could do for this experiment. Usually I will do the experiment with you. This one, because it takes 24 hours, and I want you to, it's pretty simple. I just want you to look for consistency and different texture qualities of the yogurt and the milk solution before and after. So pretty elementary type of lab here, but at the same time teaches you the basics that I want you to learn when it comes to experimentation. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. You have a good rest of the week.